Well, the stars liked the Model J. So Gary Cooper owned this 1931 Model J Tourister with a body built by Durham Body Works of Pennsylvania. Here's a color photo of the car. This is what it actually looks like in color, taken at the Heritage Museum and Gardens in the town of Sandwich on Cape Cod. Now here's an interesting story. Cooper also owned this 1935 short wheelbase SSJ, supercharged straight 8 engine, rated at 400 horsepower, with a top speed of more than 130 miles an hour. How'd you like to go 130 miles an hour in that, huh? Well, meanwhile, his friend Clark Gable owned a 35 Model JN convertible. Well, Gable saw Cooper's car and he said, I like that with all the pipes and stuff on it. So he wanted his rebuilt like an SSJ, and so he had it rebuilt with the pipes and everything on it. And there's a story here, Clark Gable and Carole Lombard. These two stars had worked together in a film called No Man of Her Own. At that time, she was married to actor William Powell, whom she divorced a couple of years later. Well, Gable and Lombard reconnected at something called the White Mayfair Ball in Hollywood, I guess, in 1936. He took her for a ride in his new convertible. That was the beginning of a scandalous affair. Gable was married at the time, but was seen traveling around town with Lombard in the Duesenberg. So eventually, Gable divorced his wife and married Lombard. They took the Duesenberg on a belated honeymoon trip up the California coast and on to Vancouver, British Columbia. Unfortunately, Lombard was killed in an airplane crash several months later. So Gable instructed an agent to sell the Duesenberg with the provision that he never see it again. And he never did. Well, the car then changed hands several times, more than a dozen times, and was rebuilt and repainted at least 4 times. When I was doing my research, I couldn't believe it. I kept seeing, this is the Clark Gable SSJ. And then I'd see another one. This is the Gable Duesenberg, and I'd see another one. And then I found out later, the pictures, found out later that it was repainted at least 4 times, so it was all the same car I was seeing, and all of a sudden it made sense. So here's one version. And then in 2006, a new owner said, no, I want to take it back to the original condition, the way it was. And so he's restored it to back when Gable first bought it. Also, Ginger Rogers owned this 29 Duesenberg Model J. Its body by Murphy featured the first disappearing top. The top kind of folded back into the bodywork instead of just laying on top as the earlier convertibles did. Well, this was featured in a 1933 musical movie with Fred Astaire called The Gay Divorcee. Here's a scene from the movie with Fred, Ginger, and the doozy. I was looking through Turner Classical Film list the other night, and there it was. So we recorded it and watched it the other night. And there's quite a race scene in there where he's chasing her. She's driving the Duesenberg, and he's driving an MG. And they're having quite a chase scene through the woods.